Man, how the parents must have failed, and the culture, the families, the teachers, the neighbors, everybody that surrounds the cultures of people I'm going to read. I'm going to read quotes of their emails and my emails and their letters, and I know because I'm the elusive Homo sapien, you're going to think something's wrong with me, but maybe not if you have a good day. So here I'm going to read this part here. So, Martin, so this is from Christine Peters, the BCGU. Martin, you have already sent this vlog previously. I would like to clarify that although in this vlog you declare that you are currently a BCGEU steward, please note that you are not currently a BCGU steward and therefore unable to represent the BCGU as a steward. I don't know why people think I'm trying to represent a BCGU representative as a steward currently, but anyways, I have continued to request that your communication and correspondence remain respectful, which has not happened as per the email chain below. Your communication remains disrespectful and harassing. You have been notified of the determination of your grievance and you have appealed that decision. You will have the opportunity for a grievance appeal committee hearing, and you will be notified when that is taking place once it is organized. Outside of that, and as you have filed no other grievances, and it's because they won't let me, you have no other labor relations issues that I am currently working on. Rather, you continue to email and threaten judges, court cases, make accusations and derogatory comments, etc. Yes, I'm accusing you of things, and yes, I will have to go to a court of law because that's the only outcome that you're leaving me. I am not intimidated by this. However, I do find that the level of bullying and harassment in your correspondence and communication grows. I have no idea why you felt the need to send this vlog to me. However, the email chain you have included highlights the harassing communication style you have utilized in your continued correspondence and communication with me. Now, what they're saying is that I cannot advocate by CCing these people that I have the right to CC because it intimidates them. And for them, they feel intimidated by me advocating for my rights, and therefore it is harassment. It's hilarious. I, again, ask that your communication remain respectful. And by respectful, it means allow them not to do their job advocating for me as a worker and not be refunded the fees they deducted. Additionally, you will be notified once your grievance appeal hearing has been scheduled. I see that you have included other offices on this email, yet the email is to my attention. Is there someone in particular in the other offices you wanted to ensure received this? Thank you. And then I responded. It turned out longer than I wanted it to be, and my response went to the ombudsperson's office, and that's it, as well as Christine. Hello, Christine. So she probably didn't like that, but it is a vlog related to the BCGEU, related to the ombudsperson's office. This recent vlog from the past week, which I have shared with some of you, was meant to update the BCGU in ways that it should be cataloging, because it is mentioned in it, and because it is in the hands of the BC office of the ombudsperson, I am doing my due diligence by informing the BCGU. Reality matters. I do not believe that I have sent you this vlog from 2-3 days ago before, but perhaps someone else has. I do not believe that my persistence in advocating for my own rights and that of others, and the way that I do so, would be interpreted that negatively when choosing the words that you do by an objective third party, which they will never, they will get me arrested before I can go in front of a third party to actually advocate for my rights and their failures, catalog their failures by an objective third party who would be provided with the evidence of BCGU's systemic issues. Still, in a show of compassion towards you and your professional lifestyle choices, I will end our communications until we are in front of an independent third party. Will you do the same by not pretending that you are working on a file meant to protect my own rights and that of others with the intensity that such a thing deserves? Your very profession deals with conflicts of events and ideologies, and it is not fair that you blame workers, such as myself, for their existence. Indeed, does the head of the United Nations, who accepts the role that he is in, and also with systemic issues surrounding his organization, ask member states to stop bringing up what is happening to the Palestinian people because it makes him very uncomfortable? The answer is no, because he has been adequately trained and chosen to be in such a role. I have a booklet filled with many notes that details the very low standards of training with the BCGU that I had to suffer through, while having my rights violated when there and attempting to improve it long ago in Nanaimo. When I was asked not to contribute my expertise during the training relating to investigations, although I earned the right to hold investigator licenses in both Quebec and Ontario when I was 19 to 20 years old, after their insistence on maintaining their low standards and going through this laughable training as quickly as possible, I had no choice but to take pages of notes about how ridiculous the training was. Who else but a provincial minister, ombudspeople, or a judge would you recommend that I share these notes with? No, I am not directing my email to anyone specific in those areas from the emails. No, I did not currently identify as a union steward with the BCGU. I was a union steward with the BCGU in the past, but I have not been for quite some time. I resigned because there were too many barriers for me to advocate for workers or the vulnerable sector that they serve due to the practices of the BCGU as a whole. Concerning Coast Mountain College, I did ask them not to be a BCGU worker again, but when employers and the province imposed these onto me, who is training to avoid worsening poverty, it was trying, that's a spelling mistake, then it makes you involved with me, a polymath culture repair. Again, these systemic issues must be raised in a court of law with judges. As I cannot stop advocating for myself and others, and you cannot stop from seeing this as threatening because it is unorthodox, then please do not reply to this email either. I feel for you, Christine, I really do, but I did not place you in the situation that you are in now in dealing with someone such as myself. You are, in fact, the one that insists on not asking any BCG lawyers to find ways to mitigate these serious concerns to BC workers such as myself directly with me. So now I am going to hear from a lawyer, but it has nothing to do with our rights. It has to do with the BCGU, just like Coast Mountain College staff who feel intimidated by somebody advocating for their own rights. The Minister of Labour avoids working with me on cultural repair projects as well, although he also accepts his role. Sorry, but I still exist. Many others continue to become victims of such lack of motivation to address our province-wide issues. I cannot be blamed for that. Quite the opposite. So I had really planned not to answer anything again after this, okay? Now I'll read you something else from a BC Ministry of Poverty Creation worker, because I repeated a few things to her, and in her last email, I realize I can't expect that person to advocate for my rights either. Hi, Desiree. Sorry to name you, but I read this. Thanks. Of course, your email makes your supervisor seem insensitive to my past ministry traumas by referring me back to the 800 number, my self-serve, and ministry offices. Perhaps your supervisor can email me the answer to messages sent on my self-serve that I'm still not aware of and that I still wish would not be used to communicate important things to me. The ministry making me repeat this is abusive. Now, because I say this, they will also, because I said it first, they are now going to say I'm harassing them by saying it's not okay what you keep doing. So that's how you guys are, right? And you're worried because you're trying to go for these pensions to be in these jobs where you're part of the problem. I had appointed my YouTube channels as my third-party administrators for the sake of full functionality and transparency. Functionality, is that the word I want? Which is not possible for my self-serve. And again, I've proven this many times, including screenshots and blogs. But the ministry has never used it. In fact, it likely made them worse with me in ministry and or Service BC offices afterwards. For them, accountability is bad. Your supervisor can certainly email me if they want, and perhaps our email exchanges can finally result in a new third-party administrator, perhaps a disability advocacy group of BC that would take over for you at that point. I'll hear from you on the water cooler and from your supervisor on the fraud of my past rent still not being refunded from almost 1 year later. Is that correct? Thanks, Martin. And then her short email tells me that I can't count on her to advocate for me because, she's losing her humanity to maintain her career. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. Hi, Martin. And because this is just this is the first way I see her write like this, almost like it's not really her, or she had to write in a way that she was being domesticated to write it. So there's no more advocacy for me. You would contact the ministry through the traditional channels for requests going forward, unless it is deemed an emergency. CISB services are only for critical emergencies. Thank you for your understanding, Martin. If you feel that you cannot make contact through traditional channels, toll-free number, my self-serve, or in office, please consider securing a reliable third party to work with the ministry on your behalf. Thank you. And I've been trying to do that for years. As for my self-serve, and they're not cooperating, by the way. As for my self-serve, I have put an alert on your file to contact through email, but as mentioned many times previously, email is not viewed as a secure way, except she's doing it, and it's as secure, if not more, than my self-serve, because government big things get hacked a lot more than private emails, especially when you have, the mindfulness to protect yourself, as I do. And many staff will not be reaching out to you through email because they get in trouble. That means they're now actually acting like our workers, and they're not supposed to. We're not supposed to exist as people. They're supposed to have a large number of files and not interact with people as people. I recommend that you update your contact information with your phone number so you can be contacted more effectively. Thanks again for your understanding. And again, the last time somebody called me, it was abusive. And I think it was a lady being trained, so the supervisor didn't even tell her she was being abusive. Okay, so that's pretty sad. So here's the email that I got today. And these dates, by the way, my response was yesterday. What I wrote to Desiree was on the 12th, and she answered me on the 12th. And the other one with the BCGU is these dates that I will tell you in a second here. So I answered Christine on November 7th, and she had answered me on November 7th as well. And it was an email where I said, "Hello, Christine. This is one of the blogs that I would show a judge about my experiences living in BC as an overqualified polymath worker, and also how the BCGU imposes their nonsense onto our lives as British Columbians. Remember, I've studied and gathered intelligence about the BCGU and a couple of other unions from the inside. I have, not I am." And then the vlog, right? And the vlog is clicking the link, and yes, it is this vlog. Now you will hear the part where people think I'm currently calling myself a steward. All clients' lives in BC would improve if you made use of your union in this way as workers. It would also prove that workers care about our rights as well as their own. And by the way, I said this to a worker who was well respected before he retired from Courtney. And again, if it's simple stuff, he's going to be nice. If it's complicated, he's going to avoid you. And everything is complicated when it has to do with the ministry, especially if you kind of are good in a polite, civilized way to advocate for your human rights, which I am. Then you start seeing how they are no longer civilized when you interact with them. So I said, "Hey, I'm currently a BCGU union steward. I will go and petition alongside you if you did it. But again, it needs workers that are not developmentally disabled, that can care about not just their own human rights, which..." Now, when I was outside that Courtney office sometimes and talking to some of the workers smoking, one lady's smoking by herself, and you can tell she's smoking not for social interaction. She's smoking because she works at the BC Ministry of Poverty Creation. And you can tell, they don't have the courage to go on strike, And if they tried to, I think the BCG would say, no, you don't want to do this. There's no fight here. Yes, there is. They understand the concept of worker rights. Which they don't, but that of their clientele. Otherwise, they're in the wrong profession. And then I sent a final text, this nice worker who's probably having health issues right now, just working for that ministry. "This is not an attack on you. This is me walking the talk for claiming to be a culture repair as a way of life. I still appreciate you, and I want better health for you also." This was me sending a message to Desiree, but because I role modeled that she's a person to me and I care about her, and she's not ready to advocate for herself either, because there's the elusive Homo sapien, and then there's the species responsible for the Anthropocene, the Homo communio, right? Now I'm going to read you that letter that I got today by reading you the short email first. This email is from Jenna Wildman, and also to Emily Luther, who signed the letter that's going to be, and then General Counsel email. And it looks like that's it. And this is what it says. It's ridiculous. I'm not even sure if she watched the actual video, but November 13th today, sent by email to me. Dear Mr. Prezo, your communications. Now, of course, communications became like this, as a judge would see, because there's an escalation of them playing these games with me and not really taking the complaints, understanding them, taking them seriously. They just want to dissipate stuff, right? They don't want to address their systemic issues, not just at the college, but as their provincial union. I am a lawyer and general counsel to the BCGU. Okay, so that doesn't mean she works specifically for the BCGU. I'm not sure, but I'll read the rest and you let me know if I should answer this and how. And I think my final answer is the only way I can answer without getting in their eyes in more trouble is using my YouTube channel as my third party and naming names. That's the only thing they're leaving me with as I advocate for my own rights and things escalate. And again, I find it so unlikely as things continue to devolve in our proto-societies of the world that I would ever reach the courts. And if I did, that my evidence would be on purpose ignored or misunderstood or really, even though it's clear, and it wouldn't take part of the conclusion or the ruling. It would be like, that's how, when the norm accepts this from each other, that they can act generally like they have developmental disabilities, there's nothing else left. There's no republic. There's no civilization possible. I have reviewed your October 13th and 15th, 2024 emails. I'm not sure if those dates match the latest ones. To the BCGU staff at the Prince George area office, which contained derogatory comments about the BCGU and our staff, and were copied to various media outlets. Okay, so that's probably some other ones that I didn't read today. I have also reviewed the video you posted on YouTube entitled Is the BC Office of the Ombudsperson, what I played for you earlier, able to handle vlogs teaching them their own mission statement, in which you incorrectly state you are a BCGU steward and make derogatory comments about the BCGU. I am making those comments because I have the evidence to prove it. It is including that booklet from years ago when I trained in Nanaimo. It is my considered opinion that your communications constitute unlawful harassment and defamation. I agree. I agree to go to court. So stop just threatening me. Let's go to court. You're the one threatening me. I want to go to court, people. That's what they don't get. I understand you are no longer a BCGU member and that your only outstanding matter with the BCGU is a grievance appeal. No, it's not. It's them as a whole. Your grievance appeal will proceed. So that's what they don't want to get. They don't want to get that I have a grievance against the BCGU. I'm not even sure it can enter their brains. Could they see themselves somehow as these angel oversight people that sometimes might believe an employer is bad or whatever, but they probably think workers are bad by not conforming, probably. I don't know. If this is defamation, yes, take me to court. That's where everything's going to come out. It's going to be long days and days and days. Your grievance appeal will proceed, and you will receive communications from Lana Mindell support staff in regards to scheduling of that matter. They always include their support staff to mail me stuff. So now there's other emails that I CC and like they're upset with it. It's just like, just deal with it yourself instead of just getting somebody else's name involved in that way. That's just a support staff. You will immediately cease and desist in communicating in writing, verbally, and otherwise with any other BCGU representative. So that means I can't send them this vlog where I'm talking about BCGU representatives have been directed not to respond to any communications from you Any failure to adhere to these conditions may be met with formal legal action. Oh, she wrote yours truly. She didn't say without prejudice, where I could say, oh no, with prejudice. If you have any dispute with this letter or the BCG, you are encouraged to contact the Labor Relations Board officer, information officer, and or seek independent legal advice. Okay, so that's a new thing to look at. Labor Relations Board information officer. I'll look into that to see if that's something that I haven't tried for advocating for my own worker rights. Yours truly, Emily Luther, General Counsel. Okay, so I'm posting this blog now, and I'm going to name it the names of the people involved. Okay,